Hi.
This is a
podcast to remember.
I could feel pretty good about this. No joke. I feel good.
Amazing things happen when you're well caffeinated and with your spouse.
That's true. 100%. Yeah. Well, welcome to the podcast.
Yes.
All of you, welcome who are listening and watching, whether it be on iTunes or any other listening form.
Media apparatus.
I love that. Media apparatus. There's a whole bunch of media apparatuses. Yes. So whichever one you're listening on, thank you so much. And also watching on. Today we got Josh Bixler and a special guest today, wonderful Mrs. Jen Bixler.
She's beautiful. I love her.
She is glowing. She is glowing.
He's trying to suck up because anything I say right now.
We are. I mean, there's really a general rule of no editing on podcasts.
This is true.
I should have brought flowers. That's what I should have done.
Yes, you should have.
So remember, from Josh Bixler's mouth, if you do a podcast with your wife, bring flowers, chocolate, and any other things to sweeten the deal.
Yes, he says it, but he doesn't do it.
No, I'm a typical guy is what it is. So.
I'm a typical guy. Yes. You may figure out a lot about Josh that you've never known before.
But we're not going to talk about that today. We're going to talk about the history of Flite Test and how our spouses have blessed us through this journey.
Exactly. And that's one of the big things that while we're having Jen on today. Yeah. First of all, thanks, Jen, for being here. The biggest thing was back when I first got hired, which is about 2 years ago now, we had your wife. Mm-hmm. My wife was shortly after. Anna was working here. Alex's wife, Lindsay, was working here. Yep. I mean, it was spouse central.
It is funny. We get a spouse. She expects having a baby. She leaves. The next spouse steps in. She becomes expectant. She leaves and has a baby. It's only happened 3 times.
In 16 years, we are going to have a workforce like none other.
Right.
You know? So it's good. We're planning for the future. This is future growth. We have
figured out, though, that it only works if both spouses are working here.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know.
We have 2 young ladies here, and HR actually forbids us from warning them that they will get pregnant. I guess you're not supposed to say that to people. So so it's a little secret. They don't know this, but we are pretty sure it's only when both spouses are working together that somehow little Flite Test babies are born.
That's totally okay.
It's totally
the more FT babies there are, the better it is.
And man, thank God for awesome wives in our lives. Mm-hmm. We can speak personally to your spouse. I can definitely speak to my bride and all the wives in between, mm-hmm. how they have moved Flite Test forward in a powerful way. Just so quickly. I mean, it's really, God calls them our helpers for a reason. Yeah. And it's because us dudes need help.
That's very true. And Jen definitely helps out not only Josh, but everybody here at Flite Test. So we thank you very much for that. It's really awesome.
Joke when we go on trips. I don't think I've ever told you this, but I'm so used to working out with classrooms, helping out school and stuff, mm-hmm. that I will literally count all of you men every time we go somewhere to make sure everybody's with us. I really do feel like I'm with
them. And ever since Jen's been traveling in RVs with us, we have not lost a single person from Flite Test.
That is good.
That is true.
You're at 100% rate right now. Yeah. That's fantastic. So obviously you've been here for a while, Jen. Yes. Obviously since the beginning with good old Joshua here.
Sure. Day 2.
Day two.
Oh, nice. Day 1, I had a reality check.
I love it.
He was trying to organize.
Oh, dang.
I can't even spell organize. Seriously, it's not in my vocabulary.
I love it. Yeah. So you've been here since the beginning, day 2. So talk to us a little bit about, what your role was, what it morphed into, what you do now, that kind of whole background. Give us a little insight in from Jen Bixler's viewpoint, because we know Josh's point, but we have never seen it from Jen Bixler's side.
It is probably pretty close. We when Josh decided to take the venture and quit his job and work full time for Flite Test, it was a bit of a change in a lot of ways.
I bet.
But we ended up moving in with his mom. It was going to be his mom and dad, but unfortunately his dad passed away before we could move in. So the first day he decided to do this full time. The boys were off at school. He's off at work. And I mean, I love his mom, don't get me wrong, but it was just the 2 of us all day. Okay. And we've got 2 women in one house. It's just, you don't want to overstep her. She doesn't want, it's different. And I didn't want to overstep. And so the next day, or he came home that night and he's like, you know what? We're having a really rough time setting up the shop and organizing. And I was like, hey, I'll volunteer to go in and help you.
And then it began.
Yes. And so I volunteered for about 2-3 months. And then finally, you guys were like, you know what? If you're going to hang out here that much, we're going to pay you.
Get on the payroll.
Well, and she started, when she says the word helping and stuff, she didn't just help. She started developing systems, processes,
Well, you guys would go shoot.
Yeah.
So I would pretty much be shipping and manufacturing at that point. It was, yeah.
Well, and shipping and manufacturing actually didn't even exist. And to give you background, because Jen's going to be modest about this, the lifestyle we lived was a very stable one. I was part of a family business on Jen's side. If anyone knows my background, I have a pretty big background in automotive painting and restoration, things like that. So I worked with her wonderful brother-in-law to start a division in Corvette painting. And that was, let's just say it, very lucrative. It's a very,
it was
very time consuming. I didn't see my family much, which was one of the reasons why we wanted to unplug.
Planes doesn't quite bring it the same as Corvette parts.
No, it does not. But the reason why we moved in with my mom and unfortunately not my dad was the amount of time we were away. We had stability, we had finances, but there wasn't a impact that was something that we were proud of. There wasn't a vision or a mission in life that was bringing a reward. And to go home to your wife, and we were doing Flite Test at that time, I think for a little over a year, coming up on 2 years. And it was like, I was talking to her, we were praying about it. It's like, there's so much more the Flite Test could be.
And you were already designing planes for the YouTube shows.
For free plans and stuff.
And everybody
like that.
was asking, why don't you guys make the kits? And
so she basically let me unplug from a 6-figure job, sell our home, completely get out of debt, and then move in with my mother.
Now you know why I deserve flowers.
If that's not a testimony to a Proverbs 31 woman, to say, I'll let you unfasten from everything that could be stable and profitable to build foam airplanes. And at that time, we had roughly 3 airplanes we were planning on manufacturing.
Well, in the very beginning, we only did the 3-pack. We had the 3-pack, we had control horns, firewalls, and then we had T-shirts, and that was it.
Yeah, we had under 10 SKUs starting the store.
And we were so excited because we had made, I think, 99 of each plane. Yeah, of each 3-pack. So we had 99 ready to go. And we thought, this is going to last us days. You know what I mean? We're going to be fine. And they put it on the store, and they all sold out in one day. And more. So it was a lot of catching up, a lot of interesting times.
There was a couple months. I remember you going home, picking up the kids, bringing them back, and we were running the laser until like 10 in the morning. And
not at that shop, not the first one.
Oh yeah, I said 10 in the morning too. It's 10 in the evening. Definitely not 10 in the morning.
True that.
I was like, we were in a 1-car garage / basement-ish area in the very beginning.
Matter of fact, the square footage in this production area right here is probably about the same square footage we had.
We'd have been lucky to have this much.
Yeah, because half of it was split for storage. But what Jen did really early on was she developed a flow to take in raw stock, manufacture, go to shipping, and then have outgoing. And it was basically a horseshoe. And the kind of cool thing is it's very still similar to this day down at New Philadelphia where we manufacture. It's more of a straight line now, thank goodness.
Right.
But it's really cool to see how God blesses women with very organized, wonderful minds.
I think the person brought in after me to kind of help us out was Alex.
Yeah. Alex was the next hire.
In the very beginning, it was once in a while just Alex and I down there working, and we'd only known each other a week, so it was kind of an interesting,
different
time of it.
Right.
I was in a lot of meetings at that time. So it was a funny thing.
A lot of meetings,
like
a lot of shoots, and so he and I would be downstairs shipping, working.
and from there, Alex obviously had at that time it was a wonderful girlfriend, but then Austin came in, and that's really when things changed. Was when Alex and Austin came in. I think the whole vision of Flite Test shifted at the end of year 2. And
shortly after we moved into this location.
Yep, and that's kind of when the vision of Flite Test got redefined from let's just review planes and do kind of more of a Top Gear car and driver mentality. Let's actually start moving on a vision, a mission, that's bigger than the airplanes.
Right.
And it took great people like Austin and Alex and obviously the faithful support of our awesome wives to do that. And that's one reason why I think it's really cool to have our spouses on to tell that story.
Yeah.
Shipping and manufacturing was what I did for a long time. And once we moved in here, then we realized it was a little much for me to do it all by myself. And that is when we brought Austin's wife Anna in.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And she helped me. Little did we know she was already expecting.
Yep.
Just very, right before we hired him. So.
Yeah. And it's really cool because I think all the spouses get along so fantastic. It's really a special testimony to the women we're married to.
Yeah.
Because there's harmony there.
And I absolutely love that they keep having the babies because mine are too big.
Your wife was just in with hers.
Right,
yes.
Jen does love the little ones, which is awesome.
I love the little ones.
Good to have little FT babies running around so she can be happy again, once again, having the little babies in her arms.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's your favorite memory, Jen, of the early days with Flite Test?
Oh gosh.
I know there's so many.
There are so many because I mean there's shipping, manufacturing, and then there's traveling. We did a lot of RV traveling with the guys, and I was always the only lady there, which was kind of an awkward scenario.
Right.
I don't know. There's a lot of them. That's a tough question.
Did she get to go with you guys to Europe? Did you guys?
No, I did not.
No.
Okay. I figured that would probably be on the list if she.
Any of the
did
ones
get to
that
go.
are pretty awesome, I stayed home for.
Yeah.
You got a kid.
We had kids. We have to
When
raise.
we
Right.
were, yeah, but we homeschooled the kids for a year too because we
Okay.
traveled so much in RVs and we took
wow.
them along and
Yeah.
it was a busy time
That's
for
awesome.
sure. And the first Flite Fest, I don't know if it's the best memory, but it's definitely one of the most crazy memories
Okay.
because that's when he was talking about us picking up the kids, coming back in here, and we'd stay till 1, 2 in the morning trying to
Oh,
make
it's crazy.
airplanes to
'Cause-
make enough for Flite Fest
Yeah.
that first
Right.
year.
We
And-
actually had a couch in my office where
did.
the kids would sleep on.
Yes, we had a TV in there and a couch, and that would kind of be their spot. And yeah, we did that the first 2 years.
Mhm.
Yeah, but it was crazy trying to make them all and then come back
Yeah.
early the next morning.
Yeah, because you were in manufacturing at that time
Mm-hmm.
and shipping and stuff like that. So you were here. I'm guessing you were helping running the laser. You were running the laser.
Yeah.
Was Alex here at that time as well, running the laser?
Well, and you were there too. I mean, you came
He
in
was
running
here
the
shortly
laser.
after.
I was shortly
Yeah.
after. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So
The first Flite Test, I think we were kind of on our own with the laser. You and I
Yeah,
back
Flite
there.
Fest. Yeah, I was there for the second Flite Fest.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yep. But that was definitely
Just
and
trying
then
to churn
just
them out,
each
huh?
year how much it grows and how
Mhm.
much the store
Right.
grows and how much we learn and
yeah.
this year's gonna be crazy.
There's a powerful thing, like especially with Flite Test, because it was chaos. And to this day, anytime we interview someone for a job, it's we give them a reality check. Like what every day is going to be is managed chaos.
It really
Because
is.
everything you're looking at the industry, how it shifted, and you're looking at obviously comparing everything to our vision. But the weather's bad. What do we do? We're still going to be putting out an episode. Do we,
Right.
we think on our feet? And you need it when you have spouses and you have your wives kind of working hand in hand with you. Suddenly managing that chaos, coming home with those crazy things that you got to overcome. You have not just one person tackling that problem, but you have two.
Right.
And
Well, and you guys are all, and I mean this in the best way possible, very unique group of guys. I mean, because when
Yes,
you guys
indeed.
have to work, you really get down, you get the work done, but you guys are also like a bunch of kids. I mean, when you need to, you have the most fun.
TJ's
Yes,
got,
thank you.
TJ's got his hands up in the air like this.
But
killing
it really is because I mean, I'll come in and there'll be cars flying through the air and quads buzzing. Shipping, that's another memory of shipping.
oh my gosh, yes.
It didn't bother me as much because I was used to it, but we'd be back there shipping and quads would just fly back and forth,
Back and
all the time.
Right.
And I think it did intimidate Lindsay a little bit when she first started. She had to kind of get used to that
Right.
part of it. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's definitely a unique environment. But you guys are all
We kind of compartmentalize. It's kind of funny. Even when I see people come in, we're doing a shoot, we're laughing, we're having fun.
Mhm.
And the second the shoot's done, it's not like, okay, that part's over. But we all have secondary roles,
Right.
depending on how you look at it. And we'll jump back in those roles
Right.
immediately. And it's almost like I don't say like a polar opposite kind of thing, but we'll definitely jump from one train of thought to another. And then once there's an opportunity, we go back to play hard.
Yeah.
And,
that is true.
we really, we love it when people say, wow, it looks like you guys have a lot of fun because they're 110% right. But having our wonderful wives, especially in manufacturing, things that had to be done regularly every single day to a very high standard was so important because there's no way we could keep up with that amount of work with the kind of work we had to do.
100%.
And you guys are
that
all
was cool.
very humble too, because we'll go to events and people are very excited to meet you all. I mean, very excited. And you guys are still to this day shocked that people want to
Yeah.
meet you.
We're excited
And
to meet them.
It's fun. It's
And
fun
that-
to watch.
And that's the coolest thing about, not only people here at Flite Test, but the community itself. They really put just like we put our heart and soul into what we put into Flite Test, they put their heart and soul into not only loving us, but growing the community, loving the community, doing whatever it takes to put the best foot forward of Flite Test.
Yeah.
And they're not even employees.
No.
Right.
They're
Right.
volunteers. Some people are just fans / community members. I don't really like the word fans. Community members because they really are a part of us. Even though we don't give them a check every month, they push us forward.
Just looking at the forums, how people help each other.
It is. It's
You
very
look
amazing.
You look at other forums and stuff, and there's always the comments. Oh, just go Google it. Where people don't do that in the Flite Test community. They take their time and they
do.
help people through. Even with hey, I want to get into models. I want a Mustang with a nitro engine. they don't immediately start digging on that person. They're like,
Right.
well, you know, friend, here's why you shouldn't probably go that pathway.
Right.
And I did a selfish time through Flite Test that I have to say I thoroughly enjoyed. Probably one of the highlights, and honestly, it doesn't have a lot to do with Flite Test. But when we were at the AMA Expo last year, and I think you know what I'm going to say.
You know exactly what you're going to say.
We had a gentleman come up to us, and he said he was a fan of the show, so I will use that because that's what he said. And he gave us a gift, and it was a poster. Planes Fire and Rescue, I believe
Fire
it
and
was.
Rescue,
and
yeah.
he works on the Disney movies as one of the animators.
Fun.
Huge fan of the show. And I actually remembered his name because we'd shipped packages to him.
Oh.
And since it was Juan Hernandez, Disney Studios, Toontown, I was so excited. I still have that picture of that label on my phone.
She does too.
But
Juan.
he was so nice that he
Yeah.
let us tour the studios. And that was a huge memory. I'm a big fan of Juan's.
For my wife, that is the ultimate work perk.
Yes,
was
it
getting to go
was.
back studio and see Disney. If anyone
Well,
knows
and
my
I-
wife, she loves Disney.
I do.
She
Well,
loves
and I got to take my picture with him, and he was so shocked that I wanted my picture with him. That same weekend, we met a guy from 98 Degrees, which I could have cared less, whatever.
Yeah.
But I was like, this guy, you know, he draws for Disney, and since then we've seen the two of the movies he's worked
Yeah.
on. So
Which movies are those?
he worked on Moana,
Moana.
and
Okay.
then oh my gosh, I can't remember the one with the bunny and the fox.
Oh, Zootopia.
Zootopia,
Yeah.
yes.
Both
Those are
great
his, and
movies.
he's worked on planes also. But
Okay.
since we've met him, those are the two he worked on. And we
That's
got to see
amazing.
behind the scenes photos and just.
Yeah.
So that was a pretty.
So there
cool
is a favorite
experience.
memory.
There
There
is a
is.
favorite
There is a
memory. That one
favorite.
like popped up
Yeah.
once we
Good.
started talking.
Well, and I think the cool thing with our spouses working, and there's actually, and I want to ask you because your wonderful wife worked there too, and we obviously can't have all the wives on in this episode, but the neat thing with the spouses is we not only had spouses working with us during work, but we really feel strongly about stay-at-home moms, giving them the ability to continue to raise their kids and not have to compromise on that. So we had a whole network of moms actually assembling small packs. My
Right.
sister-in-law
Me
was
too.
one. We had pastors' wives. It was such a cool thing to see, you know, early on in the days that we were able to have a vision, have a mission and values, and really kind of walk that line with it. But it was also blessed
Right.
under those guidelines, and it was really this coolest feeling seeing all these wonderful moms' wives coming in with armfuls of power packs and different things.
Oh yeah.
Linkage stoppers.
Linkage stoppers. Oh my goodness, and they were done accurately. They were done to such a high standard. It was just awesome.
Yeah.
Your wonderful wife worked with us for quite a while too.
Yeah, she was down in at Lauren in manufacturing, but she started here at this
Yes.
shop
Right.
when we were doing manufacturing and shipping here. Obviously, we grew larger than we could hold
Let's
here.
just
at
say
the
we
time.
were one spark away from a whole bunch of people going up in smoke.
Right.
Too many people in one small
Indeed,
building.
Indeed. And so we moved down there, and she kind of took that on as her little.
She moved into kind of the shipping manager.
Yeah,
at that
she was
point,
kind of
yeah.
shipping manager at that point, and went down to Lauren and kind of just moved everything in there, got everything ready to go. And then for about a year or so, and a couple months, something of that nature, she worked down there until she got pregnant and got to the point where she just wasn't comfortable anymore working in that environment because it was hot and just a lot of stuff going on and couldn't waddle around as much as she would like to, you know. Sorry, sweetheart. But yeah, she did a great job and she really enjoyed most of what she was doing, and she loves Flite Test. She talks about it to this day that she would love to come back and work with Jen just because you know they had such a good relationship
did,
and they
we had a good
enjoyed
time.
just enjoyed working with each other, and they got stuff done.
Oh my
did.
Let's just put it that way. They got stuff done.
What?
It was the most fun
Yeah.
with the different wives because we each had a different relationship as they'd move in because you know everybody's so different.
Yeah.
And you would forget as you're back there just chatting it up, you know, and working that all the guys in the shop can hear everything you're saying. So
That's so true.
Let's just talk about a convicting moment there. Yeah, you know,
But
it,
it's
it,
funny.
it was awesome to see them together, and you know, I love to this day. Your wonderful wife was here today with your beautiful baby, who's a boy, which is awesome
little man,
because we have
Grayson.
First little boy.
And by the way, Max is here.
Max is here as
In case
well.
you didn't know that.
Max decides to bargain whoever he wants.
Yes, he does.
It's the way Max rolls. But your wonderful bride with the little baby was here, and then Anna was here.
Yes.
And it's just so cool to see to this day, even when they don't have to come in, to see them coming back in the family. And
Yeah.
hopefully someday with a new location, I want to see this place become a place where whole families can come
Right.
and
I
have
think
fun
so.
and fellowship and make memories.
Yep.
They don't need to see us. They don't need to talk to us. They can go out and use the playground for their own purposes.
Get a
But,
kit, build a kit, fly a kit, hang out, have some food,
pick up the pieces when
see
it
other people,
crashes.
help other people with their
Yes.
stuff.
Yep.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, that is a community movement.
Yes, it is.
That is what we're looking for. You guys have already started the process. We're just putting in a facility to allow it to facilitate that movement. You guys have done all the heavy lifting. We appreciate that. And we just want to give you the opportunity to do that on a regular basis with our new location and stuff like that. And we're trying to move forward in that and see where that goes.
We're working hard. And you said it so perfectly, Stefan. We really want to turn it like a community is capable of very bad things as well as very good things. Families are still, they're good, but they can sometimes be dysfunctional, as we know. We want to see Flite Test go from a community to a family, which I think we're at, to a movement. And the movement is really where people use their passions, their hobbies to do something bigger than that, and use aviation as a tool to build memories, build relationships, inspire people, enable people. Jen does a really cool job with printing out. When, by the way,
that's what I was just going to say. Once Liz kind of took over as manager, I went into customer service. And right along with what you guys are talking about, of course, there's always issues with customer service. Maybe they got a wrong part or something was damaged. But my favorite emails are the ones where people are sharing their story, maybe sending some pictures. And we started, I don't know, a little over a year ago, printing those off and hanging those up at the shop, sending emails out, a blast email to everyone so everyone can read that. And I think it really helps us to stay on task and to realize we are touching, these people's lives, and these silly little planes are making a difference and bringing people together. And hearing those stories are really awesome.
Yeah. Either the source of frustration or the source of great joy and something really special that'll last longer than the airplane itself. And we take that really seriously. And it's really cool as a reminder as you're walking by, even in fulfillment, we make sure everyone in the company gets those emails and we pass along, unless they ask specifically to have it kept private, of course. There's a handful that we keep inside.
Well, we keep them within the Flite Test crew. We don't send it outside of that.
We basically honor the wishes of what they spoke. But wow, it's enough to reduce you to tears to see how these silly foam planes and this silly hobby can really be something so much more powerful.
And I think for me, it helps to motivate, to keep going. You know what I mean? And it is a good thing.
It's not a 9-to-5 job.
No, it's
not. There's
not.
nothing 9 to 5 about Flite Test.
And that's the thing we've seen so many different emails, letters, things coming. Now that I'm the community engagement manager, I get some handwritten letters from kids age 7 to men and women ages 97.
Yeah.
Right. I get a lot of different things, and I see a lot of things that she forwards to all of us. It really does, because you're gonna, in business and in life, in family, in community, whatever, you're gonna have the people that are upset or just that hate this or that. And you're going to have a lot of those. You're going to see those. But even just one of those quality emails that says, thank you for what you do, erases 10, 20, 30, 100 of those bad emails. And you're like, okay, this is why we do what we do.
Yeah.
And it's such a blessing. It's such an awesome situation.
And we love pictures. Seeing pictures and kind of connecting that way with people is awesome as well.
All right. And so right now, you just gotta tease us, because we go from those really heartfelt moment,
I know, to these two standing back there,
to this situation right here.
All right. If anyone's guessing what's going on, we have the artist that is Chad Lewis, and we have the crazy guy, which is TJ, and they're basically making a huge
giant
race quad.
Correct.
And doing it very accurately, by the way. And
Chad, so that's a TBS antenna, right? Yep. And then they're doing another large scale with some foam and some PEX pipe of whatever, PVC pipe, whatever.
You're an artist.
Chad does really well. You'll see coming up here in the future with some episode stuff that
crazy.
He is very talented at what he does.
Yeah.
Thank you, Chad, for all that you do.
We're continually surprised with all the crazy stuff and talents that he has. And I don't want to segue off this, but obviously my wonderful bride is here. All of our spouses, we owe them big time.
100%.
For investing into our lives personally, inspiring us to be better men, but also for where they've taken Flite Test. And I especially owe my wonderful wife for not bringing up all the dirt she has on me.
Right.
That's in another podcast.
We were hoping to get some of that. Maybe next time when she's on, we'll see if we can dig a little deeper.
This is done.
Anytime you can call me. You have my number.
Right. We'll number down and below in the description. We'll have a call line.
Don't worry. All you have to do is have the wrong product shipped to you, and you'll be talking to my wife.
Most of the time.
Now, and it's cool to think that obviously because Jen's here and we talk about spouses often.
Yeah.
To kind of take what we always talk about with the community side of things, there's always a wonderful woman behind the scenes allowing for the man to go and do those crazy projects and put everything on the kitchen table like we talked about a couple weeks ago. It also allows for you to travel. It allows for you to, like you were talking about earlier, it allows for Josh to travel and go and do things that maybe he wouldn't be able to normally do if either she wasn't on board or, you know, she wasn't able to watch the kids from back. And there's no issue with having a woman work and do the things that she needs to do to feel accomplished. We just obviously have been part of a lot of women who work from either home or are stay-at-home moms, and it has allowed you to travel with the Flite Test core team or even by yourself, whether that be to China, to Europe, anywhere. But specifically in this podcast, back down to Florida another time for a little bit of an update and a little bit of an awesome situation that you guys got to enjoy down there.
Literally a dream come true. Right. She opened up a door of opportunity and allowed me to take it to.
Whoa. I wasn't 100% on board with this one.
Let's just say she didn't say no enough times.
He jokes. Yeah, he jokes. But
I was really trying to really give you the praise for this. But by the way, just so you guys know, if anyone knows me, the fact that I'm even alive is a testimony to my awesome wife because I forget to even eat.
Yes.
No, he seriously does. He forgets to eat, drink, go to the bathroom. It's ridiculous.
I don't forget to go to the
sometimes.
bathroom.
Oh, at Flite Fest you do.
Okay, yeah, there's that one time. Yeah, but it's awesome. Like the things she actually keeps me on track with. And,
real quick, while keeping you on track before you go on to what I know you're going to talk about now, one more thing they need to know about you. For those that were at Flite Fest this past year, it was kind of a secret at the time, but a lot of people would ask where Josh was. And there was one day for about 2 hours, Josh had only gotten 2 hours of sleep the 2 nights previous. So he was literally exhausted.
It was the 2 nights. Like the Friday to Saturday, I literally stayed up through the whole night and actually got back in my car.
So in 2 nights, he literally got 2 hours of sleep. So he was just dead on his feet, exhausted. Yeah. So he went to the back behind the tent or behind the curtain in the store tent to get me something and fell asleep. So he was sleeping back there for a good 2 hours, and it cracked me up because people would come asking where Josh is, and I'd be like, I don't know.
He's sitting right behind me.
He's like 5 feet from you if you just move the curtain.
I didn't realize what happens, but when you don't get that much sleep, you start slurring and you can't complete thoughts. And
I would agree. I remember that.
Yes, I didn't realize how bad it was until later on.
Anyway, so go on with your story.
If I did talk to anyone at Flite Fest and I didn't sound like, let's just be honest, if I sounded like I was drunk, I was not drunk.
That is correct.
Sleep deprived.
He was exhausted.
Yes, he couldn't think.
This year I'm going to do a better job at not doing that. But
good man.
Yeah, my wonderful wife gave me an opportunity. If anyone knows me, I love flight, and I'm not sentimental with objects, but I am sentimental with memories because of how they affected me. And a lot of that is, with general aviation, and that's the initiative we started because it's the gateway to so many powerful memories.
That's right.
And my wife made it possible for me to purchase a Pete and Polaire camper, which is a childhood dream. And I don't own my private yet. I'm still working on my private, so I haven't gotten to fly my kids, but we go out and work on it regularly. She opens up those doorways for me to have those memories with my kids, and God bless her for that because it's a time commitment on her part, a resources commitment. But one thing I have is a terrible fear of heights, and planes aren't,
which is kind of ironic.
It is, but anyone that flies knows that when you're strapped into an airplane, it's a whole different thing. You're just like driving a car in the sky, and but I went hot air ballooning, and it was still terrifying. And got the opportunity to learn how to fly powered paragliders, which is a lot of people call powered parachute, parawings. There's so many terms that are not correct, but I still butcher them.
Right.
But we got to go out and kind of get a teaser, and we learned how to kite. And then the opportunity opened up just 3 weeks later. That was the only real window of opportunity for us and for Aviator PPG. And so all of a sudden I'm going to my wife. It's like, we have the opportunity to go down for 5 days and do this right and learn and document a whole bunch of content. And you were still up on the air about like whether powered paramotoring was powered paragliders were necessarily something that you were okay with me doing.
Right.
And she gave me the green light. And we went down there.
Yeah, not that I didn't want you to, but it was probably the most outside of your comfort zone of anything you've ever done, and I think that was more of what made me nervous.
Yeah, okay. It was honestly one of those things. Like I have, and if anyone knows my family, it seems like irrational fears kind of run into it. You have something in your mind that is a hurdle you just can't get over.
Yeah.
And for this, it was not only a passion to learn this aspect of flight and go through it, But it's also like, I got to face this thing or it's going to start really kicking my butt.
Yeah.
And I shouldn't be, 38 years old, having things that I can compartmentalize, knowing it's an irrational fear. And the fear of heights and the lack of trusted gear is one of them. So we went down there. And by the way, shout outs to Miss Lindsay, which is Alex's wife, and Miss Anna, which, by the way, Austin unfortunately had to leave the day on Anna's birthday.
Yeah.
And talk about testimony to loving wives.
Yep.
And, we went down there and we fulfilled a dream. And there was a point flying with these great guys from Aviator where they actually got all 4 of us to solo, Chad Lewis, myself, Austin, and Alex. And we went through the training. We're going to be showing the content on that training and our experiences going through it. Mind you, not how to do it. You got to go and get proper training. The whole focus on these 5 to 7 episodes we're going to do is to show the value of what a great experience you'll have when you do it right. I can promise you, if you want to go ahead and shortcut that, you're going to put your life in danger, other lives in danger. Yeah. Even if you get out of it and learn how to do it, the path you take is going to be so much more complicated, stressful, expensive.
Right.
The training is worth 10 times the money you put into it. And there's a point where on the last day of flying, he took me up to 1,200 feet. And I didn't want to go there. There's a thing where you cross your legs if it's a no, and you kick your legs if it's a yes. And he's like, okay, I want you to give it full power and climb and keep climbing. And by the way, what's his name? Eric Farewell has I think he hypnotizes us. He has this voice, and it's like, okay, pressure.
I heard that on the videos you would send.
And it just soothes you. And without that voice in your ear the first time around, because when you solo, you don't have any dual instruction in the air.
Right. It's just you, the kite, and the motor.
It's ground training, simulators, everything up. And when you go up in the air for the first time, you are literally on your own.
There's no winch. There's no nothing.
And they do take you through winch tows and things like that, but there's no dual instruction like you get normally in conventional aircraft.
Right.
And but you have this awesome still voice in your ear that is giving you instruction. And basically he said, just be a good robot and listen. And I could blindfold you now and talk you through a whole thing. And I was like, okay, yeah, he's a little arrogant. He is.
Sorry, Eric.
Sorry, Eric. Well, no, that was my thing. He's like, if you guys, and he said it right in the beginning, if you guys can trust me, he goes, I could blindfold you and talk you through this. And I was like, you want instructors to be confident in their skills. Yeah. He was not lying. And I 100% believe that, because the very first thing they started in this course was not the principles of paramotors, the components, those kind of things. It was his story. Yeah. And then the next instructor shared his story. And the next instructor shared his story. It was about 2 hours of literally them sharing their heart, their passion for flight, their passion for teaching, and how it changes people's lives. And at the end, all of them left a statement basically in their own words saying, this aspect of flight is going to change your life. And that was powerful. And I was like, okay, awesome. Aviation does change your life. I can buy into that. But he did make that comment. And yes, I 100% agree now. He could blindfold anyone. If they would listen to him and not think inside their own head, he could talk them through anything. Wow. But Eric was, he knew my fear. I shouldn't have said anything, because that immediately made him put the finger on it. It was like, okay, we're going to get you over this. And my favorite memory, yes, it was soloing, but there was a point, he's like, I'm taking you up over 1,000 feet. And I was like kicking my legs, crossing it. No. And he's like, don't you say no to me. And so I'm following, I'm being a good robot, holding into that throttle, giving it a break, going up again. And by the way, the Nitro 200 motor, 176 pounds of thrust on your back. Wow. It was awesome.
Beast mode.
Yeah, it would take me 2 hours to get the high with the Pete. But there's a point when he finally let me level off. And that's when you go from a 45, you're looking at the sky, and you level off, the canopy kind of overtakes you for a second and then backs off. And then you look down and you get this fear of vertigo. And it was early in the morning, and I looked out, and there was a point where it was absolute terror, because you're not obstructed. The seat is so comfortable, but except for your leg straps, everything kind of moves away from you 6 inches. So you're totally just sitting in a lawn chair in the sky. Wow. And it was terrifying. And then all of a sudden you look at God's creation, you look at the beauty, and all that fear gets pushed out with that beauty.
Wow.
And at that point, I'm not saying I'm not scared and I'll go on top of any building, but it took away every ounce of fear. And I owe my wife, and I own Aviator PPG for that, because
I would say you wouldn't call a lot on that trip. It was probably the least you've ever called, but when he would call in the evenings, I could definitely tell he was nervous and excited, because usually on work trips, anytime he calls, it's quick. It's super quick. It's super to the point. Sometimes he's falling asleep. But this time he would call me, and it was hilarious. He would talk nonstop for like 10 or 15 minutes. And I mean, we would finally just put the phone on speaker and set it on the table beside us and go about our stuff because he's just like talking like crazy.
I love it.
And so I knew, the excitement and the nerves was just flowing. Yeah, pretty good.
It just doesn't happen overnight. And there is something. It's not like flying an aircraft, where you're having this great experience. I kind of compare the Pete and Paul's like going back in time with an airplane, and you're looking down, and it feels like you've gone back to the 1920s and 30s, and that's something I love. With this, it's almost like God gave you 2 sets of wings on the back and said, "Go have fun."
Right.
And that was, I think, the 2 different experiences. If you want to see a beautiful sunset or a beautiful sunrise early in the morning with the fog on the ground, grab a powered paraglider. If you want to see, I keep saying I'm a powered paraglider. PPG. Just grab a PPG.
Yeah, right. There it is.
I did say right, power paraglider.
Yeah, you did.
I was saying
second guessing himself now.
Wow.
It's all good.
More coffee.
The coffee just came in today, so
yeah, we ran out of coffee. It was terrible. But if you want to go from point A to point B, then obviously get an aircraft, and they both have unique rewards. And now I can definitely say they both are going to have a place in our lives.
Yeah.
In a cool way. And our hope is to get Noah, my oldest son, and eventually Michael, involved in power
Michael's
paragliders.
a bit too light yet.
Yeah,
that makes sense. He'll get there.
It's like a 2-to-1 thrust ratio on him right now. But Noah, luckily, he's born of Jen stock with athletic blood, so he has some muscle and some weight to him.
I don't know if I have the athletic blood.
I know your family; they're all athletic. But so that's really exciting. So now the dream of kind of doing an activity with your family is coming to reality. And going back to aviation, it's crazy cool how so many aspects of aviation can open up doors of opportunity to make memories, to build relationships. And we're looking forward in this content coming up to really showcase that.
That's awesome. Now, we talk about a lot of different things. We talk about community stuff. We talk about Florida. We talk about our wives. We also want to have the opportunity to experience things that we have never experienced, which is what we talk about with powered paragliders. Obviously, to have Jen allow you to do that, it's something huge. You have to have that strong lady in the background to do so. So, Jen, thank you for allowing him to do so. I know the community thanks you, obviously, for that, because now they get to see it in action.
They get to hear that terrible laugh of mine.
Right.
It's terrible.
It's great.
You
guys love it. I love it. She loves it. We love it.
I did tease him when he got home, though. He bought some shoes, I guess, to go paragliding and whatever it is you were doing.
We need to grippier shoes.
He needed grippier shoes. And so I was teasing him when he got home because the shoes he picked out are...
I'm a cheapskate.
They are the ugliest shoes you have ever seen in your life.
She literally told me, she's like, it's not an argument of whether someday I get a powered paraglider. It's like, you're not going to fly with those shoes, are you? And I'm like, what's wrong with you?
They are bad.
I felt like a stud. All right. I thought I was the man. I was walking with a swagger. It was, the shoes. The other thing, too, was I came home in a blue shirt.
Oh yeah, because it was pretty late at night. It was like 1 a.m.
Yeah. So
I was upstairs in bed, and that night we'd heard a lot of noises because I always get a little nervous in the nights when he's gone, because it's just me, the boys, and the dog. And so anyway, I kept hearing something, so I called him, and no, it wasn't him. He wasn't home, so I'm like, okay, it's all right, it's probably just the wind or whatever. We've had a lot of windy days.
It's true.
Well, about an hour and a half later, I hear it again, and this time it was louder, and I'm starting to freak out. I'm thinking, oh my gosh, he's on his way home, and we're all going to be killed. But anyway, so I call him again. This time it was him, thank goodness.
Right.
So I rolled back over, and I started going to sleep. I figured I'll just come up. Well, I rolled over and looked, and there's a man with a blue shirt, like a light blue shirt in my room. I freaked out.
I don't wear blue.
He only wears black.
That's awesome.
Flite Test is it, like black Flite Test shirts. Yeah, it took me a
Her first words out of my mouth was not, hello, dear. It's like, you're wearing blue. You're wearing blue. Why are you wearing blue?
It's excitement. Yeah, because even when he dresses up, he'll be silly and he'll wear Flite Test under anything he's dressed up. So he's constantly got Flite Test on, no matter where we're going or what we're doing. Yeah.
Well, that's funny that you say that, is because today he's in
I'm wearing
navy blue.
Navy blue,
which we actually have a couple new things coming to the store.
A
couple new shirts.
I would have been shocked had he wore this one or the red one.
This is the Kraken shirt. This will be a different color, but
not the blue you're looking for.
Right, not the blue I'm looking for, but this is a blue that we were looking for, and that's actually going to be coming out here. And we'll tease it a little bit. We're going to be doing a limited supply release on some new shirts. When they're out, they're gone. So it's a limited supply, limited time release, and I think we're going to get 100 of the blue and 100 of the red.
Yep.
And we're going to essentially when they're gone, they're gone. So definitely snatch them up. They'll be coming here shortly. We will do some more information on that. We'll have some links down below whenever we get them in, and we'll get those going.
And I'm excited about that because there's so many cool. Like you're wearing, like we had, these are obviously samples we're wearing, but you're wearing the Release the Kraken shirt, you know, and you have the Kraken logo on there and stuff. So how cool is it that we're gonna, you know, be able to kind of go into different things the community suggested and also weird stuff we thought about.
Right. If you have comments, leave them down below. We'd love to hear what you would want to see on a t-shirt. It's colors, styles, logos, all that stuff.
Also, if anyone's an artist,
yes,
we need some caricatures, not of us, but maybe some fun playing, some fun ideas. Definitely leave comments down below because we would really like to connect with an artist to help us make some of these shirts really fun.
Indeed. Now, to finish off today's podcast, I'd love to read a couple questions from the community. We're going to do this, obviously, like I said, almost every week, if not try to do it every week. So actually, I'm going to have Jen take a stab at this. You can choose any three of these questions.
And ask you guys.
Any three questions that you want, and we will answer them, either me or Josh. Probably, I think most of them are represented toward Josh, but you can ask three of those questions, and we will finish off that podcast this podcast that way. Because
these are all about airplanes. I'm trying to look for other questions here.
He's always looking for the pointy ones.
Let's see. Trying to see which ones. Well, I don't know. This one, what?
Is it one asking about a MiG-3? Because I can talk about that. Just saying.
Do you want me to just make up a question?
Yeah. Yeah.
How about the about new planes?
Yeah, there's two I think about
go ahead,
planes.
Go ahead and ask one of those.
Yep. There are two. Let's see. Trying to figure out which one it is. Yes. Brandon Pierce. He wants to know, when will you be making some new models?
Well, it's a good thing that you asked that, Brandon. Good question, Jennifer. Very soon. Actually, we come out with about a model a month, just so you know. We have a new design or a community collaboration or something kind of flight test generated at least once a month. Oftentimes our goal is to have a multi-rotor release and a aircraft release each month. So behind Stefan's head is the long-awaited MiG-3. And that MiG-3 is really... That was not the MiG-3.
That's not the MiG-3.
That's the MiG-3. There we go. We got this coming out. This is going to be the end of March is our goal, providing the weather cooperates.
Right.
And this is actually a really cool story behind this. This is a community collaboration with a gentleman named, that goes by Nerd Nick.
Little Nerd Nick?
Or Nick Lechner. Did I get that right? Nick Lechner?
Lechner or Lechner? One of the two. We'll get that right, Nick.
We'll get it right. Nerd Nick is what he goes by in the forums. But about 2 years ago, this was actually going to be a release at the time. And that and the Shinden were kind of coming out hand in hand.
Right.
We were having some problems with the Shinden. We wanted to release them as buddies. And so we put on the back burner, but we also wanted to, you want to take that back?
Yeah, I'll take that back.
Sorry. We also wanted to get things right. Now, the really cool thing about Nick is he has a passion for speed. And really fine detail on things. He, I think he kind of talks about how he likes to push foam to the extreme.
High performance and
stuff. And one thing with Flite Test Vision is we like ease of build, fun experiences, quick time. So it was kind of a cool collaboration because you guys to this day, you can actually go to nerdnick.com. You can download the free plans and you can build one of his beautiful MiG-3s.
Right.
What we did with his permission was we actually took it and I want to say kind of like flight testified it.
Yep.
And so we made the build experience a little bit more simple. Put things like top hatches on. Just kind of did the things that we normally do.
Right.
A folds, B folds, so anyone can build it. And that one only reaches about 89 miles an hour.
Right.
But it's very conventional build. So we're going to do a release coming in the near future. And one thing we've done that we're really excited about is we're getting rid of poster board. We're trying to get techniques now that people can use to no longer need poster board as much for structural stuff. And if you look at our warbirds, oftentimes you'd see as poster board turtle decks, poster board front cowling areas, things like that. The new water resistant foam board is very moldable and very usable. And you can even do this with the white. There's a grain to it, and we're going to be talking about that in the build videos. But this is going to be the first warbird with no poster board turtle deck.
That's awesome.
The rigidity and the finish looks so much nicer now.
It does look good. I've seen the almost finished product.
Yeah.
And it looks awesome.
It's exciting. Now, I mean, the goal of these planes is they shouldn't be, only lasting a couple of weeks. We want them to last a lot longer than that. And with the water resistant foam board now, they can last a year and they're paintable. So, we got to get that poster board out of the picture. So what we did with this one is going to be the very first one that has a poster board turtleback. We're planning on going backwards now into the Spitfire and the Mustang,
right,
and actually do a version 2 on both of them.
Right.
Spitfire's going to get a landing gear. Hopefully they're both going to get flaps, and they're both going to get poster board treatment to their turtle decks and front cowlings and stuff like that.
Revamping,
top hatches, things like that. So kind of a relaunch of some warbirds, some old ones that are familiar, but with some new techniques that we've learned and we've grown through. And then the MiG-3 is going to kind of be the launch for all that. Cool. Shinden's going to be following it as well too. And the Shinden, I want to give 100% shout out to the beta builders.
Yeah, thank you, beta builders.
Yeah, the Shinden, if anyone doesn't know, had a problem where you build one, it flies great. You build the second one, for some reason the thing wouldn't fly. And even the beta builders had problems with this too. But Dale Stratton, I believe, was a major pioneer through this. They figured out some angles, some wing angles, flying front canard, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
They got a consistent model. And we're going to release that after the MiG-3. So
we got one coming in March.
Yep.
Possibly one obviously coming in April. The MiG-3 is the first one of the two, as well as maybe some revamps of the other older warbirds.
And we got a lot of really amazing builders out in our community and stuff. So we're going to make sure when we release the MiG-3, the FT MiG-3, that we also point people towards Nerd Nick MiG-3 as well. And that way you can choose. Some people don't mind taking that, the longer build time and more exotic materials. We want to make sure you have 2 different paths you can choose. One for speed and performance, the other one for a quick build time. And it's frankly 90 miles an hour is still pretty fast.
Yeah, still fast. But, still get you up there.
But a little bit more familiar techniques, so we can hit both audiences. And Nerd Nick, thank you for your contribution to the community and what you're doing.
My man.
We really appreciate it. And of course, the beta builders, we love you guys.
Appreciate it. All right, let's do one more.
Sorry about that. I just really talk a lot.
That's okay. It's okay. People want to know.
We'll do a quicker one.
Okay.
Craig wants to know which FT plane is your favorite to fly for both of you guys.
Okay.
Wow. What's yours?
I haven't flown all of them, which is really actually sad because I want to fly them all, but just sometimes we just get busy, and right now we can't fly here, et cetera, et cetera. My favorite one that I've flown up to this point is probably my Mini Scout. It was my first plane I ever flew. I got to fly it outdoors. I got to fly it indoors. Thing's just a blast. It really is. It tracks really well. I have yet to FPV mine, which you have said that is a fun thing to do.
Yeah.
But which I will do at some point in time. We were throwing it around the shop earlier, by the way, Josh and I, seeing if it still glided, and still does. So that's good. It's been through a lot. But that's probably my favorite. And then I also actually really do like the wings. Our wings, both the Versa and the Air. I really have enjoyed those two. So those are probably my couple. Josh, what about you, sir?
I love it. Man.
They're like your babies. How are you choosing?
Yeah. I don't want the other ones to hear it. How about this? I like planes.
Yeah. I feel like
t-shirt. I like planes.
I like planes. I feel like you
take a guess.
Sea Duck or Arrow.
Sea Duck's one. Sea Duck, if I have the time to build, because any plane I fly does not last too long. I either pass the transmitter until it's dead, or I do stupid stuff till it's dead. Sea Duck would probably be my favorite plane to fly. It is just so much fun.
It is.
The plane I'm really connected to a lot is the Sportster, the FT Sportster.
Yeah.
And I love that vintage Americana air race kind of look. And the old Speedster, which was a 3-channel version, real slow flyer, was cool. But the Sportster with the 4 channels, that plane can do anything. You can fly 3D, you can fly smooth. It's just fun to watch in the air. And
I remember the first time you flew that was at JR Indoor.
Yeah,
I was there. That's where I flew my Mini Scout, and you had that big Sportster. And
that was actually the old Speedster.
Was that the old Sportster?
That was a 3-channel. Yeah.
Oh, did you bring the Mini Sportster?
The Mini Speedster. Actually, you may have been around for the Mini Sportster. That was a little tiny one ripping around. Yeah,
maybe that was okay. That was we had the Mini Sportster. That's right.
Yeah, and it was ridiculously fast.
Yeah, it was. I remember.
I like the Sportster look so much. If you look behind your head, that is one I started about 1.5 years ago, and it's a 10.5 foot, 111 cc gasser.
Oh wow.
Of the Sportster.
Wow.
So I love balsa wood building too, and I got like a dry spell, and I was like,
that is a question. Are you going to do balsa building?
Why, yes, I am.
We'll be looking at all avenues of flight.
Yeah.
Which, just to wrap up, we will be looking into all this in general aviation, balsa, nitro. We're going to be expanding the horizon to all those different things.
Yeah.
Within reason and within the future here, within the near future.
Our goal is to break down hurdles of intimidation with flight and use the flight as a tool to build relationships.
Exactly.
So So with the paramotors, the reason why we gravitated towards that, I mean, a new paramotor setup can be as much as 13 to 15,000, as cheap as 10 for brand new. Now, granted, you can go on eBay, but keep in mind the technology, not with so much the motor, although there's a lot of technology, but the wings. It's a whole different world on how we've grown and how the industry has grown with powered paragliders. But our focus is we want to show what people can do quickly and have success in, have a great experience in. So we're going to go through every aspect of aviation. And Bob's actually in the background right now. If anyone hasn't seen background Bob, sorry Bob. But if anyone hasn't seen the episode you were in, which I'm really excited about, that was really cool. We did a walk around, or you did a walk around with Bob on his Cessna.
Exactly. Yeah, it was fantastic. I learned so much, got to really understand what you need to go through to just get in the cockpit and get ready to fly.
Yeah.
I mean, there are so many things you have to make because it's your life on the line, you know, and that's why we talk about it all the time. We're not experts in GA, in general aviation. Yeah. We are just facilitating for the experts to open up and talk to the masses.
Yeah.
And so that's why we do it. And we want to get everybody involved because we want to take it from, building a kit to maybe building a gasser to flying an airplane.
We don't want any form of a ceiling on where you can go with flight,
because there is none.
There's literally none. You can go right up to space.
That's right.
And I have a feeling someday we'll have a flight test young man or woman, in space.
I would not hesitate to say that. So,
but it's really cool. And look for future episodes. We have one called All About Upset Recovery.
Yep.
And by the way, a huge thank you to the community. We put a shout out for with GA or general aviation content. This is something outside of the store support. Right now we're self-funding this to get this initiative going, and we ask the community for help to find us collaborative relationships with the industry and also for sponsors.
Right.
And you guys delivered big time. Within the time that we released the very first Pete and Pull episode to now, we have well over 300 people that have reached out to help us in some way, sponsorship opportunities to help fund us, things like that. So you guys are literally making this part of Flite Test possible for us through your knowledge, through sponsorship, things like that.
Opportunities. And, thank you so much.
From the deepest part of our heart, thank you so much, because you're not only fulfilling a dream like getting to learn how to fly paramotors, but you're also helping other people see things beyond model aviation.
That's right.
And whether you stay in any aspect, that's your own choice. We just don't want to limit where
the
you
opportunities,
go.
Right?
Yeah,
and that's the biggest thing, and that's what we're going to continue to do. We're going to continue to push that. If you want to be a part of that and you haven't been a part of that, we will have links down below to look at that sponsorship of also emails to whether you creating opportunities for that. Also ideas about new planes and new multi-rotors and all these different things. Just continue to leave your comments down below. Really appreciate it. Subscribe if you haven't done so. Click that bell for notifications so you see when everything comes out, so that you're not behind the times or anything like that. She's over here laughing at me.
No, I'm laughing at him.
Because they're always laughing at each other.
Love her.
Jen, thanks so much for being here. Really
Thanks
appreciate
for
it.
having me.
You've been such a sport, not only here on the podcast, but I know he's crazy.
I'm not easy to live with.
It is what it is. Thank you for your two beautiful sons. They're awesome kids. You guys have done an unbelievable job raising them. Josh, thanks for being on the podcast as well. I love it every time you're on. And like I said, we will hopefully have Jen on another time and more spouses in the future. Yes. And if you have a spouse that you'd like to see on the podcast, let us know in the comments below as well.
That could get dangerous, right?
Or we can just have the wives take over and get three of us in here and just kick you guys out.
That sounds like a terrible idea.
I think it's a wonderful idea.
Guys, thanks for being on here. Guys, thanks for watching and listening. And we will, guys, see you guys next time.
See you next time.
Take care. Deuces.